clear night in the summer of 2012. You've been watching PewDiePie play Amnesia Dark Descent for the past 3 hours in your bed, and you've decided you want to stain your pants as well. You sneak into the living room and you grab your mom's Dell laptop. You log into Steam and check the top sellers of the horror genre, and there it is. The holy grail of horror games. Now, fast forward to 2020. And if you do the same thing and you look at the horror genre, you'll find that after 10 years since Amnesia's release, the game has moved a grand total of 20 spots. And when you take out games that don't actually even have the horror Steam tag, that number drops down to 13. An entire decade has passed on one of the most popular video game genres, and Amnesia still has a firm hold in the top 20. In the early 2010s, there was a huge oversaturation of horror games due to the success of games like Amnesia, Slender, and Five Nights at Freddy's. These games became extremely popular due to their virality on social media. Many of the biggest YouTubers today, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and obviously PewDiePie, used horror games and their stellar reactions to propel themselves into YouTube superstardom. This style of horror game relied extremely heavily on jump scares for their success, and while I'm not saying there is anything wrong with that, or that jump scares don't have a place in the horror genre, I feel like everyone can agree that when overused, jump scares can become stale pretty quickly. I think the gaming community has become numb to jump scares after the countless releases of new horror games from 2010 to 2015 attempting to become the next viral game. So horror game fans have been looking for something new, craving fear that lasts longer than mere moments. Fear that lingers on and makes your neck hair stand up. Well, have I got the game for you. Dive down and we can explore why GTFO is a breath of fresh air to the horror genre. GTFO is a survival horror game by one of the lead designers of the popular Payday series, and there's no denying that the co-op heist series was a source of inspiration within GTFO, primarily because of the fact that it too is co-op. Now, co-op and horror don't traditionally mix very well in video games. The player's isolation from any help or assistance from outside is a design choice often utilized within the horror genre to increase the levels of fear within the game itself. Bringing friends will always make something less scary. Despite that, GTFO still manages to generate a sense of fear to its players. The first thing they do to reinforce a sense of fear is they drop you in with essentially no instructions. No waypoints, no button that lights up on the ground telling your team where to go. Just a bit of flavor text before you drop just to give you a little sense of doubt, and then once you load in, you're given a sparsely worded objective. When I loaded into the first mission of GTFO and I read, "Find HSU 114 and nothing else," I immediately thought, oh, this game ain't playing around. The lack of information you're given is an amazing tool that the developers use to make you feel uneasy. You're afraid of the unknown, not sure which way is correct, and you'll often find yourself exploring every nook and cranny of each level before you leave. The game plays more like a co-op stealth game similar to Dishonored or Mark of the Ninja rather than other survival games like The Forest and Dying Light. You spend most of your time in the game crouched, and it feels like you should be, and the enemies aren't something you want to be messing with. Not because you can't, but because ammo is such a scarce resource. We find ourselves constantly looking at the enemies in the room and asking, should we go loud here? Doing a cost-benefit analysis on our health and ammo versus our likelihood of going through the whole room without being detected. This is the primary gameplay loop of GTFO, along with a gimmick or two for each specific stage, and it works really well with friends. Because if one of your squad mate misses a hit with his hammer or accidentally moves a little too loud, they've almost certainly ruined the whole run, or at least drained everyone's ammo. But if you manage to bring it all together and keep your cool, it's extremely rewarding and will get you jumping out of your chair when you complete a mission. The high-stakes gameplay that you and your friends are tight-roping across brings your heart rate up like any other horror game would. The fear of failure is just as strong as the fear of a monster. GTFO feels like going to a horror movie with your friends. You have an hour or so of intense, heart-pumping action that you can laugh about later. It brings a different spin to the horror genre that I've never found in any other game before. It was easily one of the biggest surprise games of 2019 for me. If I have the right group of people sitting in Discord, I have a hard time not suggesting we play it because it's so damn fun. Is it the scariest game I've ever played? Absolutely not. but it does scratch that itch of lingering terror that makes my neck hairs raise whenever I open a door to pitch black and I look at my radar and see 15 enemies in front of me. It's not a game I can play every day, but who watches a horror movie every day?